My boyfriend called me a gold digger, so I left. Now he wants my help to pay the rent. This is gonna be juicy. Like, excuse me? Quick rants, not looking for advice, but for people who have been in similar situations. I, female 30, have been with my boyfriend, male 34, for 2 years. We moved in together 6 months ago and it was all good. We had an understanding that we would go 50-50 on chores and bills until we decide to have a child. As I would be putting my body, career, and life on the line, he would always obviously need to make up for his lack of risk by contributing more around the house and monetarily. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Because of this, I believed we had an understanding on how we believe partnership should work. 2 months ago, he got a slight promotion and a pay bump, which meant we adjusted our cut of the bill to reflect that. Good, good. I would say that if one person is out earning the other in a relationship, the bills and percentage of the bills that you pay should reflect that. But somehow he's come to expect me to then take up the chores at home. Like, hold on, like, wait, hold on a second. Like, hang on a second, because that's still a form of labor that goes unpaid. So you are still splitting 50-50. Actually, no, no, no. I mean, obviously, it's like, do you want to put an hourly rate on your chore doing? I don't know, but it still kind of sounds like that's unfair. Yeah. It started with small things that I knew he could do, like dishes and laundry, and escalated to sitting down all weekend watching me do my half and leaving his half of the chores to accumulate. Oh, hell no, buddy. No, 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 no. No. No, wait, hold on. He wants to stay at home wife that also pays the bills. Make it make sense. No, thank you. No, thank you. Look, I would say that the only way that he could argue that he now doesn't have to do any chores is if you didn't have to work at all. Okay? But you do. You not only have to work and pay bills, but you also have to do chores. And I'm guessing he wants you to do his chores too? Absolutely not. Let's keep going. He blamed it on the stress and added workload, but we are both corporate and work at our desk regardless. I would be more understanding if his job was more physically demanding. It got to a breaking point when I noticed mold in the pot he was meant to clean. If either of us cooks, it's the other's responsibility to clean. He just kept the lid on it so I wouldn't notice. Okay, no. Take that pay bump and hire a cleaner. I needed to take the day off work to catch up with all the cleaning he neglected. Let's keep going. The last straw was when he came home without groceries, despite it being his week. Usually, when either of us is too tired to do groceries, we let the other one know in advance so we can at least order in food. I told him we needed to add a cleaner to the bills, bingo, if he's not happy doing chores anymore. Right. Take that extra money he's earning and just, if he doesn't want to do the chores, and just hire a cleaner. I mean, it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. Because I refuse to do them if he isn't contributing fairly too. He made an excuse about not wanting a stranger in our flat. Oh, give me a break. I then said we need to begin ordering grocery deliveries for the extra cost too if he can no longer be bothered, and he called me frivolous with money. Frivolous with money. I would say that if your entire place is in disarray and he doesn't want to like pull his weight, I wouldn't say that this is being frivolous with money. You're not going to Chanel every day, okay? You just want a clean house and put food in the fridge. Let's keep going. So I suggested that I would be happy to take up these responsibilities, but it would mean I'll drop my working days from 5 to 4, and I would expect to be compensated for the sacrifice I'm taking to my own career so he can focus on his responsibilities. Sounds like you're doing a lot of compromising for this person because apparently they matter more than my own. And I would also expect to be paid an hourly rate, oh, period, for doing the chores at the average market salary for a housekeeper. He seemed so surprised and shocked I suggested that and didn't know how to reply despite having an answer for everything I said before. I started to feel like he was trying to manipulate me into a situation that was more ideal to him and less ideal to me. Bingo. The dude got a pay bump and now all of a sudden he's like, oh, I'm the provider. But he's not. You still have to pay bills. Like, if he loved me, he wouldn't be doing that. So I asked him if his friends put him up to do this because I knew they all struggle to keep girlfriends, and he said a proper woman would be happy to look after the house and called me a gold digger. Excuse me? Like, let's not get it twisted, okay? I would say a gold digger is someone who, you know, first of all, there has to be gold to dig. Digging is not easy. A little pay bump here and there does not make you a billionaire, buddy. When I think of a gold digger, I think of someone who has very clearly married for money or is in a relationship with someone who is either, like extremely unattractive, like weird, old, like all these other things, and they are with them for the lifestyle that they can provide. It doesn't really sound like that's the case in this instance. Let's keep going. I was shocked because I wasn't asking for designer items. I was asking for fair compensation for my labor, especially seeing as it would dent my own career to take on all this work. So I called him a gold digger for wanting a private chef and a housekeeper for free. Period. I was admittedly angry at this point and also told him to stop being so proud of his promotion if he was too broke to afford a chef and a cleaner and instead tries to manipulate the woman he loves to do it for free. Not really for free because I'd be taking a day off from my salary means I'll be paying for the privilege to clean up for him out of pocket. I told him he was dragging me down when we were supposedly meant to build each other up equitably. The flat is his, so when he was ignoring me after the fight, I started packing. He told me I would see sense, but I didn't bother. I started to feel embarrassed that I didn't notice he was like this. Clearly, he had someone say this about you, and he took it to heart. This is what I don't understand about a lot of like modern day relationships. It seems as though women are in the workplace, yet we are still expected to not only work and pay bills and pick up the slack in terms of like money that we are contributing, but also to overcompensate and clean the house, make sure everything is in order, take care of, other things that have to do with the relationship, appointments, if you have children, you have to take care of the kids, they can mop, etc., etc. If you want a traditional woman, be a traditional man. You gotta be willing to pay those bills so she can stay home all day and do the physical and emotional labor that is required of a stay at home wife, mom, girlfriend. and I would just on this hill. I stick to that hill. But let's keep going. I started to feel embarrassed that I didn't notice he was like this and wasted 2 years to build up to this letdown. As I parked my car, I said as much and told him not to contact me. I blocked him everywhere, and he's now sending our mutual friends messages and voice notes forward to me. My friends have been mostly on my side, seeing him as a bit pitiful, and I can see that. One of the male friends we have in common mentioned he's been watching podcasts. Now I know where he's from. Recently about masculinity, and I have a feeling this is where he got the idea to stall my future and put me under his foot to only solve his dreams and goals. Hey, that's fine. If that's, I mean, this is modern day feminism, okay? It is not women in the workplace, women, paying the bills, you know. It's having the choice to choose, okay? If you want to be a stay-at-home mom, if you want to be a stay-at-home girlfriend, mom, wife, whatever, it is your right to be able to choose that. Exactly. But if that's what he wants, then he can't have his cake and eat it too. You know, you can't have someone paying 50%, 40% of the bills, whatever it is, and also have someone who's taking care of him at home and probably his children at some point too. Just doesn't work like that. I mean, it's like shit. I feel angry the more I think about it. He loved those podcast men idea more than he loved me and now expects me to feel sorry that he can't afford rent without my contribution. But I believe he still thinks I'm the gold digger for not accepting an unfair division of effort and labor. If this has happened to any other women, how did you address it? I'm annoyed. I let it record and accumulate for 2 months before I address it. I feel like he also changed his opinion. Like, this is not what you signed up for. It's clear to me that you guys were on the same page before, and now he's had some red pill, blue pill talk about male, female, gender stereotypes. And it's changed his perception. But like, I actually really feel like those men with those podcasts are the ones that are actually paying the rent, at least for the most part. I watched like a few of them about like some podcast phenomena, and the vast majority of those men that are like touting those beliefs, they are actually the ones that are paying the bills. So this doesn't apply. This doesn't apply here. Those values doesn't apply, and not unless you're willing to pay for everything. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, willing to pay for everything and also be with a woman who is also willing to give up her dreams, if she has any, and stay at home and take care of you. Moving forward, I won't enter a relationship without having this outlined at the dating stage. I'm in my 30s now and I don't want to deal with men expecting free women labor because society makes them believe it's worthless in comparison to what they do. To be honest, like, it's a lot more common than you would think. And even if you do discuss it at the beginning, there is something that happened called weaponizing incompetence, where a man in a relationship will just, we essentially refuse to learn those skills. They will just take too long to do them to the point where you are nagging, right? Because you're asking them to do a very simple thing, and they pretend that they don't know how to do it, or that, like, like, they refuse to learn or ask you how to do it. And then at that point it's like, okay, well, then I'm just gonna do it. It's a lot more common than you would think, and it's gonna keep being common because this is, one of the first times in history where women did enter the workforce. Yeah, these ideals about women being the person at home taking care of the household are still so ingrained, and gender stereotypes. So it's gonna take a little while for that mindset to shift. Hmm. Okay, so let's check the top slash relevant comments. Let's see. This is a common trend in recent times. I had the same issue with my ex-boyfriend of 2 years. Told me my responsibility as a woman was cooking, housework, childcare, and paying half the bills. His responsibilities were paying the other half of the bills, being in charge, and making all financial decisions. I earn a lot more than him. What? God! This is so annoying. Like, I don't understand how it doesn't make sense. It makes complete sense. Turns out that at the age of 32, he became a massive TED stan. Like you, I didn't know he'd been consuming the content obsessively. One of the last things he said to me when we were breaking up was, all a woman is good for is keeping my stomach full and balls empty. Well, at least you know how he really feels. And also, it seems like she's paying half your bills too. Don't forget that part. Okay. You are lucky you left when you did, and I'm impressed with how quickly you did it. Yeah, the part about being, embarrassed that it took so long to realize, I feel like you set those boundaries pretty damn quick. There are lots of women who ends up in these kind of situations for a very long period of time. You're not even married to this guy. You could have gotten married to him, you could have had his kids, and then, it only would have gotten worse because the label goes up when you have kids. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like you did the right thing and didn't let it get out of control. That's pretty quickly. You should be proud of that. Opie responded to this comment and said, I'm glad to hear he is an ex. So am I. I did in the moment think I was being too rushed in my response, but my gut feeling was telling me he was not going to hear my opinion, let alone change his ways, if he didn't respect me enough to even do what he did in the first place. Unfortunately, those podcasts and that way of thinking, I do genuinely think that it's doctrinates meant to think of women as second class citizens. So I genuinely feel like he wouldn't have valued your opinion. I mean, bold coming from a man who can't afford all his rent himself and needs a woman to pay for half of it. I'm so shocked by the comments and how common this podcast problem was. He listened completely in secret. I was not aware in the slightest. There must be shame attached on some level to hide it because we all share the entertainment we consumed, and even his football, I will sit down with him sometimes for important matches. Interesting. Really interesting. Another commenter said, what messages are he sending besides rent? Is he trying to get you back? OOP said many apologies and explanations for what he said. The last message I read was about his plans for his career and how he wanted to become a higher earner so I never need to work and he can buy me everything. But is that what you want though? It really has to be what you want. Because if you are the type of woman who has ambitions outside of raising a family, and by the way, I'm not like women whose ambitions are raising a family, that is a separate conversation. It is an entirely different conversation. It is a perfectly fine ambition for you to have as a woman. But if that's not what you want, and you both enter the relationship thinking that you would both, you know, have ambitions, I'm sorry, but that's a little too late. Me and my friends agreed he's digging a hole as he ignores my career and goals. So you don't want that. After accusing me of being a gold digger, his plan is to make me a gold digger. Ooh, I didn't even clock that. To be fair though, a woman who is a stay-at-home mom or wife or girlfriend isn't necessarily a gold digger. I genuinely feel like you're not really a gold digger unless you are strictly with someone for the lifestyle that they can provide. And there's almost always like a discrepancy in age. There's always a discrepancy in, like, let's say, physical appearance. Yeah. I don't think that applies here. Not sure. I think he's just in crisis mode now. Excellent. Excellent. Like OP kind of like went into the whole, because I don't think that she mentioned it because she said it in the title, the whole I can't pay my rent thing. So he basically mentioned that because I left without giving him time to adjust his budget, I should pay for the rest next month of rent. But he lived there before, so I know he can afford it if he becomes frugal. My name was not on the list, and when I mentioned I wanted to be on it in my country, having a paper trail of rent agreement makes it easier to rent when you move. Avoid isn't great. He told me not to worry, so I guess he kind of saved me from that in his own way. So cool. I think that he really should have thought of that before he, spoke to you in this manner and changed the rules without consulting you. He financially fucked himself over by calling the breadwinner a gold digger and now begging that same woman he crapped on as soon as she moved in to be his sugar mama to fund the roof over his head while she still no longer lives there. The irony is not lost on me. OP more than dodged the big bullets, she dodged nukes, plural. So OP edited in the comments, thank you for the overwhelming support. I see so many people have gone through the same thing and it makes me feel less angry that I found myself in this situation. A few things that came up a lot. One, he created an Excel spreadsheet that calculated based on income how we can fairly contribute. When his pay increased, he paid more monthly, 80 euros, and also had 400 extra euros monthly of disposable income. If this is what soured him, I suppose he shouldn't have mentioned it because it was his system and not mine. I'm sorry, 80 euros extra? That's why he paid more? I thought you had taken it out by a way bigger discrepancy. 80? Okay. We didn't keep a tally. We had favorite chores. He likes to vacuum. I like to put dishes away. But sometimes he's sick, does overtime, or isn't in a mood, and I would happily do it. Same with him for me. I only started to tally when a pattern emerged. It would be stupid to not take notice when he's consistently leaving things to me silently, as if expecting me to silently sort it out. The mold was disgusting. The groceries were the last straw that brought the camel's back. I was exhausted after only 2 months of picking up the slack mentally and physically. Couldn't imagine doing it without serious reconsiderations to our dynamic. Three, we discussed children because we both agreed we wanted the relationship to head in that direction, not because we were ready now. I would not have spent 2 years with a man if our future ideas didn't align. It's okay if someone changes their mind later, but communication is important. And four, he listened to the podcast in secret. I had no idea. And we usually share the entertainment we consume together, silly videos and films. So we have another update. 6 months later. The title is My Ex is Making Me Nervous. I Want to Leave the Country. Oh, oh, okay. I posted on this sub a few months ago about my relationship with my female 31 ex male 35 falling apart due to his change in ideology and seeing me less like a partner, more like someone who only exists to support his dream. The breakup was quick. I walked out after a major fight with most of my items, and my father went back to collect the rest while I was on FaceTime. I wasn't scared of him then, but I knew he'd try to talk to me as he was bothering all our friends to get in contact with me on his behalf. Since then, I've slowly drifted away from our mutual friends as no one has caught contact with him, and I just wanted friends who didn't feel like they were walking on eggshells around me. He started off being very apologetic in his messages to me through them, but quickly became mean and blamed me for everything. He lost the flat because he could no longer afford it and moved to a studio. Sounds like around and found out to me. While he was heartbroken, his sister would look after him and clean sometimes, but even she got tired of it. He told everyone he was depressed because of me. They all tiptoed around him. But once I started to drift off and hang out with more of my hometown friends and reconnect, I had less and less. About a month ago, I got asked on a date and I said yes. The man, 33, let's say Martin, is completely new to this area and barely knew anyone. So we spent a lot of time together in the first week, just me showing him around and being more like friends before seriously dating. Interesting. Somehow my ex found out. I'm still not sure how, but I think a mutual friend saw me and reported back. He turned up at my father's house. He doesn't know where I live currently, asking to talk to me. I called a mutual friend to alert them of his weird behavior. It's so interesting that he didn't think that you could find a better situation, that you would just be willing to compromise and like lower your standards for him. Honey, there's plenty of fish in the sea. Plenty of dudes that aren't listening to those podcasts. Okay, they're hard to find, but they do exist. It seems to work because he didn't try anything for a while. But then one called me to tell me they found my ex lost his job because for the past few weeks he's been driving around my time all day instead of walking in the hopes to spot me. Oh, this is kind of cray cray. I'm uncomfortable. Like this has scared me as I didn't think he was capable of that. But if you read my last post, you know I don't seem to be able to predict these things well. Martin is a tall, large man, so I go out with him almost everywhere since we like spending time together anyways. And I also have my friends and my father, so I don't feel like I'm in imminent danger. But this behavior sounds like the kind of behavior from an entitled and delusional man. And we all know how far their delusion of entitlement can take them. I've like I've not gotten a taste of it, but I have a friend who has gotten a taste of it, but it's never been to this degree. And I can't tell you that it does make me feel uncomfortable. For him to lose the job, he wanted me to prioritize over mine, and entire start of our argument last time doesn't sit right with me. At this point, the police here can't do anything as he hasn't acted, and I can't prove that he has stalked me electronically. So the only way for me to find out more or resolve this is by unblocking him. I'm grateful I blocked him so thoroughly because he allowed me to have a clean break. But obviously, in his red pill mind, that's not normal. Will closure help him? Martin has also suggested that he'd even pretend to be a fully dedicated boyfriend to help discourage my ex from any ideas of reconciliation. Honestly, since our breakup, I've been considering moving to Portugal, but very whimsically. Now, this situation has made me think about it more seriously. Alright, because last time your comments gave me comfort and lots of insight and confidence. That's cool. People in the comments are like, if a mutual friend was reporting my status to an ex, they would not be a mutual friend anymore. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. But it's entirely possible that you would have found out anyway, but you do have a point. It's over, buddy. Get with it. I wonder how much gold there was to dig if he couldn't even afford his house without her. The answer is zero gold, my friend. Zero. He ain't got no money. Another person said, I wonder how many men have screwed up their relationship by listening to Manosphere podcast. Judging by how many, like the fact that I even knew, I had a feeling that this was the reason why his behavior and feelings changed. Hmm. I've said a lot. Just for anyone who's curious about those podcasts, just for the record, women want a partner. I think in this day and age, it's entirely a woman's right to choose. There are plenty of women who want to be trophy wives, stay at home wives, but you cannot indoctrinate a woman to change the way she feels about her future and the things that she wants to achieve. If you both enter the relationship under the impression that you would both have ambitions. Mm. Women like partners. We like men that show up for us. Okay? We like all that cute, you know, like it's just like on the advice about Portugal. Hmm. Maybe test the waters a little bit. I don't know. I kind of like mountain. So if that would mean that you and mountain would break up, I don't know. But then again, you are also putting your dreams on hold for a man again. You know, I do like mountain. I do. But it's your dream to go to Portugal. Maybe just go test it out for a bit. I hear the standard of living in Portugal is great. Great. So it's a magical place. So hopefully this guy backs off. TBD. Hopefully we don't have a scary update. Yeah, hopefully we don't have an update in the future. If you are enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when next we post a video. Don't forget to like. Well, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Bye.